My name is Farzad Makarichi. I am the Corporate Technical Director for DARCARS Automotive Group. Fancy way of saying corporate shop foreman. My father was a metal worker and a welder, so I got into metal work and fabrication and just had this thing for how things worked. It's kind of funny, my dad till this day says, you haven't fixed enough stuff to compensate for the amount of stuff that you broke as you were younger. So I like working with my hands, and that just gravitated me towards automotive. Interesting, a lot of it, a lot of different brands, a lot of different engines, and I just want to know more. I got an opportunity to work on a gas station, and I worked there for a little bit while I was going through high school, and real quick I recognized that there's a glass ceiling. You can only go so far. You need continuous education. I got an opportunity to work in DARCARS in Rockville as a trainee technician. It was great, and I think I was fortunate to work with great mentors and people who just loved working on cars, and just that was starting for me. I'm like, I had a guy that I looked up to, and I'm going, man, I want to be like this guy. This is the guy. And just worked my way through. At some point, 2 years, 3 years into my career, I'm going, what's next? What do you do? And somebody brought up ASE certification and factory training. And I'm showing my age here, but back in the day, you didn't do stuff online. This was everything with books, and you had to submit a request to get a book, and the book would come. You'd have to read it and send a test, and then you qualified you to go to class. So that's kind of how it started with Toyota. In 2006, I got an opportunity to run the shop, and I became shop foreman. In 2012, I got an opportunity to run Toyota Silver Spring, Lexus, and Toyota Rockville. And in 14, I believe it was 2014, I got an opportunity to work with all the shops. So I do all the factory certification for pretty much all the brands that we have under our roof. I get to work with our great shop foreman and technician. I've been with the company about 28 years, so it's a great opportunity to watch people's career growth from entry level to mid level to master level to shop foreman, and as some of the guys that they're on this video. Absolutely, I think I might be a line of description of what DARCARS is all about. It's a family-owned, operated since 1977, and because it's a family business, that feeling of working, even though we're very large, it still feels like a very small and cozy because everybody knows each other, and just also creates opportunity for growth. We have tons of technicians and individuals that they do so well and surpass, and there's an opportunity as a leadership in another location, and they relocate to another location, one of DARCARS stores, and they run as a leader. Biggest thing, mentors are, I think they're the key secret ingredient. There's a lot of, before, I like cars, I want to get in cars. It was easy for me to kind of go after what I liked. Today's very different. I think today's younger generation, they don't know the exposure of automotive. So that is why we come in to kind of coach and mentor, going, hey, there's pathways, very successful pathways. But the key ingredient is mentors. And mentors are not just the technician you work with, is also the instructors, the high school instructors, the college instructors. And they're the key to success for that individual. I did the math. It takes about 6 individuals to help groom somebody's career. I know just in our facility, there's your service director, there's your shop foreman, there's your team leader, there's a guy that you work with when you just started. All of them are working towards a goal. There's myself, they're working towards the goal of success of that individual. So there's a lot that goes with it, but vocational school and college, post-secondary is key to a successful career. We have a dozen and a half of technicians just graduating that graduated within the past 2 decades and a half from CCBC. And I got to tell you, it shows, because the instructors are so passionate, and that passion just resonates with their students, and the students just follow that lead and just run with it. They do really well. So it's almost like we look at it as a filtering. When you hire a group of individuals, especially young individuals, and they're starting out, it's very important that they love what they do. And we got to be able to create layers in them to see, to recognize what they like. Is this for them? Is this something they want to do? And then test them and challenge them. And once they go through that challenge and you can see their behavior, they enjoy it, they like the education, they like the training, they like the performance, they like working with their hands, Then there's another tier. The next tier is pair them up with a mentor. And that mentor foresees their futures and teaches them the advanced level of stuff. The fundamentals got to be there. It's very important to have that fundamental in your quick lane, your express loop. They may not know it, but we're actually monitor them on their performance and their attitude. And if they love it, it's for them. Obviously, mentors are so valuable. So you want to make sure you pair them up with a mentor that the mentor doesn't feel like they're wasting their time. The mentor definitely recognizes when the mentee is not interested. So we create barriers and filters to make sure when you are working mentor, you are that right guy and you are that right mentor. And I believe Christian talked about personality as well, and that's very important. You got to recognize not everybody like the same things. You matching the right mentor with the right mentee with the same common interest and personalities, it goes a long way. The most successful pathway is pairing them up, the guys with somebody who's just been in the business for just a few years. They have a lot more in common and they can relate a little better. With DARCARS, one of the most successful programs that we have is the co-op with CCBC. CCBC is a great example of it. The hands-on, 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off, I think gives them an opportunity to, what they learn in theory, put it in work. That is the best way of, I think, learning. We recruit from a lot of different avenues, School for Profits, School for Nonprofits. One thing that I've noticed, School for Profits, that they go in and it's compressed 12 months of learning. Because they're not applying it, they're losing some of that information, some of that knowledge. With a 2-year process of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, they really get the opportunity to exercise what they learn. Working in the shop, it's the real deal. That's the real environment. In school, it's got a setting, it's control environment. It's very predictable. Your days are predictable. When you're coming out of technical training school and you actually go into dealership, that's real. It's unpredictable. Your days in could be a very easy, simple day. It could be very complex with complex problems. So where you test your knowledge and ability is at the shop, when you're working in the shops. Cars have evolved dramatically. In 90s, fuel injection were phasing out. Carburetors were phasing out and fuel injection was coming in. Now we're talking about, transition going electrifying cars. And there are more and more electrification happening. Every brand, every manufacturer I do training for, there's such a hard focus on electrification. And I gotta tell you, it's still very mechanical, even though it's electrical. And the interest is there. I tell my future technicians who are coming into to this occupation that it's not just wrenching anymore. You got to have a laptop. You almost have to have an IT degree. You're dealing with 70, 100 different components, computer components, and it's the days of just open the hood and figure it out is gone. You're pretty much connecting a diagnostic tester. You're looking at the computers. You're doing a data analysis first before you actually open the door, open the hood, and start diagnosing the car. So we are talking about future. We are talking about the next generation, the electrification. I think it's just super, super advanced in technology, and it doesn't get boring because there's constant change. Every few years, the manufacturer goes and changes the model. So for someone like me who have a little ADD, I just love it. It is not a dull moment. There's always excitement about what's coming up in the future.
I think every great car mechanic has a little bit of
ADHD, absolutely. Absolutely, right.
I think you got to have a thick skin and hard head to do this.
Determination and not to give up and keep going.